Welcome to part 4 of my Pester in Action series. So in this video, we're going to build a module letting Pester guide us, because I've already built a good thorough set of Pester tests to verify my modules are correct. And we can start with almost an empty folder, and these Pester tests can tell us what we're missing to make something complete as a module. It is really important that you start with the previous video to see how it was pulled together. And I think you'll get more out of this one if you start with that one first. So with that, I'm going to jump right in, and we are, so in my Pester in Action demo, which is over here on our GitHub, Pester in Action, Kmarquette, that's my handle on GitHub anyways. Let's building a module on the fly. So we're going to call this one Pester in Action 2. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So we've named our module Pester in Action. Right, this way, everything we do will be referencing this demo. So my demo path is, I'm in our working directory here. I already have a folder called 5 module interactive demo. So we're going to build a path, and we're basically going to create this first folder, and I'm going to pull in the demo tests from module 4, just the tests, and we're going to place them in this module with the proper name. Okay, so all we're going to do is just grab that file from that other module that we just talked about on the last video, and when I run this, invoke Pester, actually it's clear up here so we can see the output. So when we invoke Pester this time, we have all kinds of errors. Things just are not looking good, are they? Okay, so let's say from the top, I don't know if we can read the red here, but is it, that's bad color. It has a root module file. Well, that's the, which file is that? It is the, oh, there it is. It's looking for a file called pesteraction.psm1. All right, I think we can take care of that one. So let's do this. So that psm1, that's my loader file. For me, that's very generic. So I'm also going to pull that loader from our previous module. I know it's kind of cheating. I have to retype this every time, but I don't retype this every time. It is a piece of my toolkit. I drop it in and I go. So I invoke Pester, and something green flash by, and it says, hey, it has a root module file. Yay. Oh, and we claimed a second test. It is valid PowerShell. I tend to test from the top down, because when I write my tests, I kind of get more intense and more in-depth the deeper I go. So if I got multiple tests failing, I try to solve my top ones first, because that will often solve ones later down, depending on how I fix it. So what's this next one here? It says it has a manifest file and is looking for pesteraction.psd1. So that's a manifest. That's something that we can actually generate on the fly here. And this line here, is that the whole line? It is. So new module manifest, the path of where our folder is, we're going to give it the name of, the name is going to match the module, and the root module also, the name matches with the PSM1. So we execute this one, boom. I'm going to run the same invoke pester as we did up above. And now we claimed 2 more tests, right? It has a manifest file now. It also contains a root module path in the manifest. So if I scroll that over, it's saying pester in action.psm1 exists. Beautiful. Okay, so what now? We need, oh, it has a functions folder. Well, that's an easy one, right? We didn't actually create a functions folder before. We create that on this line. Make functions. Boom. It looks like that succeeded. I got my test right here. Hey, we're almost there. Has a functions folder. But the next one is, it has functions in the function folder. Well, we got an empty folder. We need to fix that, don't we? But you can see how that if any of these things are wrong, I mean, I can let this tell me exactly what I need to do to build my module. So you can see how if any one of these pieces are broken or off, that Pester can help me fix that problem. So let's create a function. Yeah, let's just create a function. We'll call this guy test item.ps1. That's all I'm going to do. Create a function. But you know what? I didn't even put a function in there. I just created a file. So now I'm like faking my test out. I'm like, haha, all you need to know is there's a file in there, right? Well, what happened here, right? Something is horribly wrong. It has a function, it has functions in the function folder. Okay, I passed that one. But because of that for each loop in my module, my PowerShell module test, it is now looping through the functions to make sure that they're valid. So what's the first one here? It says it has a pester test. Well, I should probably be checking to make sure it's a function before I'm looking for pester tests. But you know what? We can make that one green pretty easily. This next line, new fixture. That is a pester command to create a testing harness for a function. So if I run this guy here, it'll create a new fixture. And let's take a look at that guy. Right? We just created it. It's got the scaffolding you saw a lot in my earlier demos. Well, this is kind of where I got it from, is the fixture figured out, put this stuff in here, I just kept reusing it. My location, my file, this dot source is the function. And this saying it should do something useful, true should be false. So in a way, it's throwing an error, right? It's a failing condition. Let's change this to just match our function test item that we haven't created yet, right? This is what our function will be called. I'm going to put the test in there now. This is like, we're doing like true, test-driven development. If I don't have a failing test, I shouldn't be fixing it. I want this guy to be true. That's just a better thing to save. So I'm actually going to save this guy. I'm going to go back to our tests, and I'm going to run my test up here. And let's start at the top. All right. We have a pester. Oh, I hate when that jumps like that. It has a pester test. Got it? But now it's not happy because we don't have any show help comment block. You know, that's easy to take care of. So let's open up our function. There's our function. There's our function. It's empty. But I've got a snippet. These for simple help text. Nothing more than the lines that says synopsis, example, and notes. In fact, while we're in here, let's go ahead, let's see here. No, let's be honest here. We're gonna cheat as much as we can and see how far it'll let us get away with it. All right. So if I run my invoke Pester here, our now passing test or failing test is I've got a show help comment block, but now that synopsis I just deleted, it's saying my show help comment block does not have a synopsis. In fact, if I look down a little bit further, the next one is my show help comment block has an example. So let's just go back in here and put in a proper comment block, right? Synopsis, it returns true. Example was test item. Okay, not much of a help text, but it should get us passing our test over here. Ooh, I'm seeing more green. So now it finally realizes that, okay, our help is taken care of, but it's not an advanced function. In fact, it's not even a function at all, is it? So let's create that part. Let's come in here and we say function test item, and because wait, how do we know it's not a function, right? It should tell me in here. It should contain, oh, it wraps it kind of funny here. It's saying it should contain FUNCTION. Oh, there's the line that fails. Right there. It should contain function. All right. You know what? Let's do this. Function. We're cheating. We're cheating like mad on this guy, right? We're just gonna do the bare minimum. Save this guy. We're gonna run our test. Run our test on this window. And now is invents function y. So it does not contain commandlet bindings. It should contain commandlet bind. I think it wraps. It did. Commandlet binding. So let's take function. Right. CMD let end up binding. We'll just leave that in there. Horrible looking function, by the way. And it's still not an advanced function. What am I missing now? It should contain the parameter block. I mean, I could probably baby step this. I'll do this one more. And param, right? I mean, it's not a brilliant test by any means, right? If I got these things in here, I'm a long ways towards having an advanced function. Once again, all right, it thinks it's an advanced function, but you know what this next line says? Jump by really fast. Is it valid PowerShell? Well, that's definitely not valid PowerShell. All right, we could keep cheating because we know the tests that were being ran, but let's actually give ourselves a valid function now. Test item, because we're going to be actually testing it in the next binding, right? This param is that, and this, and we're just going to say, we'll say false. So now when we run this, all of our module tests have passed. Our module is as valid as, well, it's valid, right? Now, we skipped over one here. I said invoke Pester on the functions because we had to create a Pester test. It's going to fail because, well, it wanted true, but for some reason I made the function return false. All right, so if I fix that one thing, we should have a fully functioning passing set of tests for this module. And that guy? Beautiful. All right, so let me do one more here. Invoke Pester path. Oh, let's clear this. Let's see it run. Look at all that green. So, tell you what, there's many things that we can do wrong on a module. Because if we just come in here and do something random, like I was super quick on that, right? You might not even caught what I did there. But if we run this Pester test, tell me right away that something is not right in that module. And this one here is saying, oh, it does not have a function folder, right? All I do is I just renamed it really fast there. And this is telling me that I screwed things up. So the beauty of this is before this is all before I try to actually run my module, right? Like before, I would dump it in the PowerShell folder, I'd do the import module, I'd force it, I'd remove module because something's not working and I'm iterating and testing and, you know, whatever. But now, right now, I can drop this in my module folder and I have a high degree of confidence that I didn't make some silly mistake along the way. And it's also keeping me honest. It's making sure I've got help where I want help. I've got advanced functions, and I've got tests with all my functions. So this beautiful little test here, the module test, is doing a lot of cool things. Oh, let's add some more functions. That's what I was going to get to here was I'm going to pull the functions from the other module we did in the previous video. So let's copy them over. And I'm just going to list all the functions in that folder, or all the files in that functions folder. So I've now got get shortcut, new shortcut, and test item. And if we do our invoke Pester on that, on the module test, it's also doing the full validation on those two files I just dropped in there. So just by getting them in the right spot, my get shortcut now has to comply with all these items or my test fails. Now, so that's the beauty of my module, and I use this in all of my modules. And as I find things, you know, I tweak them. It is very helpful starting with this as your test module, because if you go for a long time and then drop this in later and realize, Oh, hey, I didn't do help text. Oh, I didn't make Pester tests for stuff. You got all these failing tests that it's always tedious to go back and do those things after the fact. But if you can get in the habit of checking these things as you're doing them, the overhead actually becomes very, very small. So what you'll find is on new modules, this guy is really nice and handy. If you have an existing module and you drop this guy in there, you're going to feel like you're wasting a lot of time going back fixing things that you're probably not sure you need to do anyways because, hey, you've been fine without them. I've got modules where I've disabled the help text testing just because it was just too large of a module. I never got back in to do the help text. I will one day, but priorities, right? So with that, I'm gonna leave this video here, and in the next video, I'm gonna walk through some just other examples of Pester in some of my environments. So that might be it for like the module validation, but I'm gonna touch base on some like SQL, Active Directory, system type testing validation. So we're gonna leave this one here. I'll see you in the next video.